Dragon Ball Z. Rock Dragon, come get me. Dragon,
Hello, welcome to the Comic Book Club. I am your host, Jamil Payne, and with me, as always, is Amanda Coleman. How are you doing today, Amanda?
I'm ready to rock the dragon.
You ready to rock the dragon?
Woo!
We already started with this, huh? If you guys don't know, Rock the Dragon is the U.S. theme song for Dragon Ball Z, which, by the way, they haven't had a better theme song since, in my opinion.
It really was something.
So, if you notice, we're doing a show back to back, and usually it's bi-weekly, but this won't be about what we're reading, which I still haven't read yet, because it's 12 issues, but I'll probably start tonight. This is more just a general show, where we're just talking and bullshitting. Like, I enjoy talking to Amanda so much that I figured, we can talk about other things besides comic books, because my mind tends to wander. I need to get this out my system. So, Amanda,
Jamil.
where's your history with Dragon Ball Z? That's a bomb right there. That's a bomb.
No. I've got to say the timing on this is perfect, because last time when we were talking about Power Rangers, I mentioned that this was a thing that we talked about at the bus stop, and I lived in like a big, old, safe suburban neighborhood with like probably a dozen kids at each bus stop. So it was like a big, raucous bus, and first we were Voltron was the thing that was on right before we came out to wait for the bus, and then it was Power Rangers, and then
about 3 years later, when you reached about middle school,
it was Dragon Ball Z. And so Dragon Ball Z became the thing that we were all talking about every morning. And the I don't know, it was this thing, like the girls got into it and thought it was funny, and like the guys got into it and they thought it was cool, and we would like have snowball fights where we're like shouting like attacks at each other, and it just kind of had like a broad appeal. And since not a lot happened, we got to like add a lot when we were talking about it. And since not a lot happened, if you missed one episode because you were like eating breakfast or something, it wasn't a big deal either. So it was kind of the perfect middle school sized soap opera. And the kids at my school, we had these graphing calculators that you were supposed to use for the advanced math classes. And the school had a set that we could borrow, and one of the kids, he took one of those and he programmed his own Dragon Ball Z video game onto the graphing calculator where it would like run the stats. So you could play, I always played as Piccolo, but you could play as any of the characters, and you had to fight Raditz, and then you had to fight Nappa and Vegeta, and then you had to like do like a training game, mini game, and then you had to go like fight all of the was it the Ginyu Force?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and like if you were Piccolo, you got to like fuse with nails halfway through the game. It was really elaborate, and it was like the thing. And I think that guy is like a computer science guy now.
I will hope so, because clearly he was talented.
But it was funny because everybody was just kind of into it, and even the people who weren't like wearing the t-shirts and had the stickers on their binders and stuff, like everybody knew who Goku was. So it was just a very like sort of Dragon Ball Z is just sort of like synonymous with me to like middle school and high school.
I've heard that Astro Boy is like Japanese Mickey Mouse. I would like to argue that it's Goku.
Yeah.
All right. So with me, something very similar. One day you turned to UPN, because like, you know, Dragon Ball Z at first came on like what they call the third rate Saturday morning cartoon station.
Yeah.
There was like Fox Kids, then like, you know, ABC had one. Then when there's absolutely nothing else to watch, you turn to that third station. They had like Digimon and shit.
Hey, don't talk. Digimon wasn't the worst.
You know, I don't like Digimon or Pokemon. I take that back. You know what? I've been living this life for like 20 years saying I don't like Pokemon. I never played any of the games, but I used to watch that damn show. Like, I did. And like, to the point to like, I have nostalgia for it. But when I was growing up, I was like, oh, that shit not cool. Mind you, I'm watching cartoons too, but for some reason, Pokemon was like a step too far. Like, that was too kiddie. And I'm all of 13.
See, I would say my opinion was the same, but we have the fact that my mom still has the Poke Rap memorized, which means I must have been watching it an awful lot if she just picked that up from being in the same house with me. So
that poor woman. But no, go ahead.
No, you're right.
But no, it was the same thing. Me and my friends got really into Dragon Ball Z. And I don't know about you, but about 12 or 13, that's when we was allowed to start going places by ourselves. And like, you'll go to the mall, and there used to be dudes that had like bootleg copies from like fucking Japan, all in Japanese and shit. I remember, like, it seems so long ago, but I remember when like, you first found out about Super Saiyan. Like, your friend would come to school like, yo, you know, in like a bunch of episodes, his hair gonna turn gold and he's gonna be even more powerful. But bullshit, you lying. That's not gonna happen. Because again, we didn't know Dragon Ball Z was made in the 80s. We didn't know that.
And we didn't have like Wikipedia. Like, you couldn't go look it up and find out how it ended immediately.
Like, Super Saiyan was like this mythological thing, like it was on the show, that we wasn't for sure that was going to happen. And people would print out pictures when that was real slow and expensive. Like, see, I got a picture right here. Like, man, you made that picture up, which made no sense, but that's what we assumed. Like, there's no fucking Super Saiyan. Little did we know, we in like Form 5 of Super Saiyan now, 20 years later. But there was a time.
Yep.
They like my son know what a Super Saiyan is before he ever seen the show. Like now it's just a thing, but I do remember those simpler times where you just didn't know what the fuck was gonna happen next. You just didn't, and only way you could find out if you go to the sketchy like video store in the mall in the dungeon and like get like bootleg copies of it in Japanese. Like, I just
the other big one I remember, like the other big secret was the Trunks episode.
Yes.
Was like we heard rumors about that and we're like, no. This sounds absurd even for this show. And it was all amazing. I think I still have that one on VHS somewhere.
Trunks, in my opinion, is the best designed character in the show, which is saying something because all of them are pretty cool design.
But see, that's the thing is Trunks was like, he was like intentionally engineered to be the coolest character ever. He is the Green Ranger.
Exactly.
Like once Trunks shows up and he's like, oh yeah, I'm like this cool, like younger, slightly rebellious, but still super polite and respectful dude from probably the future. You're like, oh, maybe like I'm secretly a Super Saiyan too. Like, once they start adding cast members in like that, you're like, yeah, it could be me.
And like, it immediately diluted the Super Saiyan brand. Now everybody's a Super Saiyan. But no, like, if you just look at his design, right, the jacket, the pants, the haircut, the sword, like, he looks like a fucking action figure. You look at him like, I need that toy. Like that's honestly, like, he's very toyetic. Like straight up, like,
yeah.
Like, so I'm assuming, like, this is what I always assume, right? Because it was made in the 80s. Like, the show got really popular in the 80s, and Toriyama was like, well, fuck, the show popular now. I guess I better bring, like, the most awesomest character ever now. Like it seemed like something you would make, or a better equivalent would be is, it wouldn't be the Green Ranger. Trunks is the White Ranger.
Okay, yeah.
Like, as in, like, the Green Ranger, the popularity of the Green Ranger was an accident. By the time they got to the White Ranger, everything was engineered. The White Ranger premiered with, like, a theme song. That's what Trunks is. Trunks is the White Ranger in a lot of ways. I always feel like Vegeta is kind of the Green Ranger of the show.
There we go, yeah.
Because I don't think no one expected Vegeta to be as popular as he became. Like, in a lot of sectors, you know, he's more popular than Goku. I'm one of those people that like Vegeta more than Goku. I remember the long waits between episodes because they had to dub them. I don't know if you remember that, but sometimes it would be like months before you see a new episode, and it never ended in any way that made sense. Like one day it'll be a new episode, then there won't be a new episode for like 3 months. Then when it does come back, it's only like 5 new episodes. Then you gotta wait another 3 weeks to a month for another 5 or 6 episodes. And somehow we stuck with this shit until we got to the end.
I mean, I remember that, like, the break while you're waiting for new content is so similar to the way that comics come out that I'm not surprised it worked. Because, like, when you have the gap between single issues and you spend your time in between, like, thinking about it, you get, like, some weird magical thinking going on where, like, you feel like you're helping the story. And, like, it gets people really invested. I'm not surprised that was definitely part of the appeal. Well, if it had all been available all at once and we just binged it, it would have been like, this is terrible.
Funny you say that, because all I can think about is no matter what you could think of, no matter what crazy theory you could think of, Dragon Ball Z was so batshit crazy that it always exceeded whatever the fuck you could think of.
Yeah.
Like, who would have thought Majin Buu was going to be a big giant bubblegum monster? That's fucking weird. Like, that's really weird, man. Who's your favorite character? If you had
Piccolo.
Damn, well, Piccolo's my second favorite. Piccolo was my favorite until Vegeta became cool.
See, Piccolo was always cool. And
that is true. That you see. Look, you see this? We're about to fight. You see, we're about to argue. You see that? We've been nice for 4 episodes. The glove's about to come off.
I just I can't get over, like, the first fight with Raditz, and Raditz drops the amazing one-liner of the, "Has anyone seen my arm? You can't miss it. It's green." And you're like, ha, Raditz. And then, like, whatever, and Piccolo goes to take the kid, and he's just like, look, I can grow my arm back. It's just the best. It's just the best, like, little badass moment. Like, yeah, like, I'm gonna stand here, I'm gonna let you make fun of my arm, I'm gonna let you think you have an advantage, and I'm gonna let you do it because I'm in control, and I'm the boss, and I'm really cool, and secretly I don't really want the kid to get hurt, and secretly maybe this Goku guy is okay, I'd rather be friends with him than, you know, beaten by him. It's so great. And it's like the first great thing that happens in the show.
True. I mean, look, I love Piccolo. I thought Piccolo. Now look, this may not happen with you.
Mm-hmm.
But I know for black kids, we always assume Piccolo was black. Like, we just imprinted that he's black. Like, anytime there's like a big bald head protagonist in any type of cartoon,
yeah,
there's like an alien or something, or slightly racially ambiguous, like Lex Luthor kinda is in the Superman animated series. Mm-hmm. In our minds, he's black. Like, Piccolo was black to us. Like, oh, Piccolo's the only black character on the show. Because
I could see that.
Because, like, look, if you look at him,
mm-hmm.
he could be black. I mean, look, he was the coolest motherfucker on the show. He still is the coolest. Like, I love Vegeta, but, you know, Vegeta kind of a whiny little girl. But, like he's the coolest person in the show. Who's always the coolest person in any show? The bald-headed black guy. So we just imprinted that on him. He had like a voice that could have been black, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's what we did. We made Piccolo black in all our minds.
I have to say, the voice actor definitely was like 75% of what made Piccolo cool.
Oh, definitely. which brings me to the point of my of Dragon Ball Z as watching it as an adult. I'm gonna say something really sacrilege.
Okay.
Dragon Ball Z is a really poorly written show.
Yep.
Oh boy, it is so bad. Like it's weird, right? It's the narrative left fields that it takes. You would never do that in traditional storytelling, and not all of them are good.
No, I would agree. I think that if I probably will do this when we end the show, but I think that if you were to just look at like the Wikipedia plot summary of what's going on as like a fourth grade English teacher, you'd be like, this is not even a plot. This doesn't even make sense. None of this should work.
But it does.
What is your least favorite story point then? Like what are you thinking of when you're like, it's so bad? Like what is the thing that really grinds you?
Okay, two things. Well, one is not really a complaint, one I just find really odd, right? As we all know, Vegeta is like the second star of the show. And again, he's my favorite, right? And like, Vegeta's story is one of the best. There's this big redemptive, there's this really giant redemptive arc for him and stuff. Let me finish though, right? But why when you give that to Goku's brother? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really weird that you give that to Vegeta and not Goku's actual blood brother that they never mention again. No, I'm not saying I necessarily want Raditz per se, but like in any other story, right?
Yeah.
That giant redemptive arc would have been given to like his actual family. But the fact Raditz is killed like in the first 5 or 6 episodes, never mentioned again. Like, Vegeta gets the second chance, but your brother don't? And like in all these years, you never thought about your brother or wishing him back and seeing me. Like, it's weird, man. It's just weird. Like it's.
No, you're right. Given the number of people given the number of enemies they've turned into allies and the number of times they've wished people back, it's almost statistically implausible that Raditz isn't around and like, hanging out and like helping Chi-Chi cook dinner or something. Like,
there's a lot of meat on that bone that they never fucking touch.
Yeah.
And which leads me to like, I think Toriyama was just making this shit up as he goes. Like he was just flying off by the seat of his pants. Now, one of my main problems, but this is the one that irks me the most, is the fact that they set Gohan up to be the hero of the show, then immediately reneges on that with the Net Saga, has bothered me to this very day. Like, it's almost unforgivable in my eyes how they've treated Gohan since the Cell Saga.
Yeah, so part of the way that they were releasing episodes made it so that the Frieza saga I've watched probably like 10 times. The Cell saga I've probably watched like 5 times. And everything after that I think I've only seen like once.
Right! Me too!
So I'm also like not as like familiar with all of the stuff that happens afterwards. But yeah, I remember that like exactly, like Gohan was supposed to be the actual hero. And then the next thing you know, he's like, oh no, I don't like really want to do that. And somehow they've gone like 5 or 6 years without needing him to do that.
Cause here's the thing, like, have you ever seen the story of Trunks? Which is kind of like, the
future one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
That's a dumbass question. I'm sorry, I forgot who I was talking to.
No. It is because that one wasn't like on TV all the time. I had that one on VHS. I also had the Bardock one, the Garlic Jr. ones.
Don't get me started on Garlic Jr. on whether that's canon or not. I have no clue.
Piccolo and Kami get to be kind of badass in those, so I'm going to insist that they're canon.
Well, no, because Garland Jr. shows up in the show too, but
Yeah.
but like the movie clearly doesn't take place in that same timeline, so it doesn't really make any sense. Like if you think about it.
Oh no! I know it doesn't make any sense, but it's
Well, no,
spiritually canon for me because it has a couple of really cool scenes.
Well, no, this is the thing, right? If anybody know what we're talking about, Dragon Ball Z have movies that are not necessarily connected to the show, which are fine. Which I love those Tree of Might, you know what I'm saying? World's Strongest. I love all of those. So they set a precedence of the movies not being connected to the show. And one of the earliest ones was Garlic Jr. But then in the show, after the Frieza saga, Garlic Jr. shows up in the show and referenced the movie. But the movie can possibly be canon. Because it doesn't make any sense within the frame of the show.
Well, you see, I'm going to go a little Star Trek on you here. When Trunks traveled back in time, he reset the previous timeline. So, it is possible because now that we have time travel, the plot doesn't have to be consistent.
But I thought they was dealing with multiple timeline theories. You know what? I'm not even gonna get into this with you. You're way smarter than I am, so I'm gonna leave this alone. But I thought every time Trunks traveled back, he made like a new dimension because there's at least 3 Trunks.
Okay, You're not wrong. You're just ruining my fun.
I'm sorry. But no, okay, yeah, Gohan. This is what I was saying, right? The fact, like if you watch Future of Trunks, right?
Yeah.
Gohan is really damn cool in that. And he looks like his dad, he's dressed like his dad, but he's smarter than his dad. Yeah. And he's more of a traditional action hero in a lot of ways than Goku is. And I was like, you could have easily continued the show and made Gohan that. You know what I'm saying? It would have been a slightly different show, but if you were showing somebody that was kind of you know what I'm saying, smart, and he always had to use his fist to punch somebody's face in, that would have been such a better show. But what they do is they kind of regulate him to the sidelines and bring Goku back.
Yeah.
And ever since then, Gohan hasn't been that big of a factor. They try to sort of kind of make him cool again, but it hasn't worked. I know in Super, he hasn't trained in 6-7 years, and he's really scrawny, and it upsets me so much because they spent years building that character up. They spent a lot of time, and they spent 200 and something episodes on that plot from the very first episode where he get mad at Raditz and headbutts him and hurts him for real. They haven't been setting this up, so he had this in his mind, and he just said, "Fuck it, no, everybody just want Goku," and he just didn't stick to his guns.
So now, is this more or less upsetting than The Last Jedi?
Well, I like parts of The Last Jedi.
Because they were setting Luke Skywalker up to be the Superman of the universe, and then they decide they're just gonna go a completely other direction, and he's
drinking titty milk, and it's all weird, he's fishing with a really long stick.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I couldn't help but bring up the comparison and also bring up the fact that, Dragon Ball Z is still super enjoyable, and, there aren't people rallying to raise $200 million to redo Dragon Ball Z with Gohan as the hero.
No, there's not, because it's weird, because it's still, even with those problems, the show is still satisfying, unlike, look, hold on, just on a small, Last Jedi tangent. I can't think of the composer, but there was a famous composer in Paris back in the late 1800s, early 1900s that played some music for like all these hoity-toity, fancy people, and the music was so discordant at the time that it started a riot.
Are you talking about The Rite of Spring?
Am I? I don't damn know. Maybe, yeah, probably. Like, is that the one where he played and people were so upset by it that they like started fighting?
I think it is. I just Wikipedia'd it. When first performed at the Theatre des Champs-Élysées in 1913, the avant-garde nature of the music caused a sensation and near riot. I wouldn't be surprised if multiple pieces of music have done this, though, because people were boring back then.
Yeah, they really were.
Okay, but your point, you were making a comparison.
But like now that piece of music is considered like a classic.
Yes.
I wonder if that's going to happen with The Last Jedi. Like, it's so disconcerting, and like, it's not fulfilling in a traditional sense that maybe it's going to need 10 years before like everybody agrees that they like it.
I very strongly believe that, because I feel like The Last Jedi was a very, very good movie, but like not a super satisfying Star Wars movie.
I've heard like comparisons to Empire, but but Empire feels a lot more satisfying than this. Like it just feels a lot more satisfying than this movie. And I'm not even saying that like as a person that just loves Star Wars. I'm just saying like you just look at it as a movie, because I think. Again, I got my problems with that movie, and I think, necessarily trolling your audience for a whole 2.5 hours is maybe not the best way to win fans, because that's what it is. It's a 2.5 hour troll. Anyway, back to Dragon Ball Z. I don't even know how we got on this tangent.
Because I was making a comparison of how fans respond, and Dragon Ball Z fans have been jerked around a bunch, but the series never really lost its core of like, it's fun to punch stuff.
While The Last Jedi, on the other hand, forgot that, people like
people like it when the Jedi win. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, not even that the Jedi win. Just I don't know. He was trying to say a lot of things with that movie, but you know what? This actually leads into another conversation later. I'm gonna put a pin in this, because I still want to talk about Dragon Ball Z, but this actually goes to what the conversation we're going to have next. So, another thing about Dragon Ball Z that I have a problem with is that there's a lot of characters that do absolutely nothing and are worthless. And I have like, people just die.
Like Yamcha?
Like Yamcha, Tien,
Oolong?
Yeah.
The pig?
Yajirobe has done more than Yamcha. It's these weird narrative flourishes that's just so weird, because like any other story, you wouldn't have these characters just hanging around if they're not going to be effective in battle, because none of them are effective in battle. Like if somebody else was making this, everybody would have a moment, right? Everybody would have a moment. Everybody would be super like, you know what I'm saying, super competent. Like, maybe you can't beat everybody, but you can beat somebody. You know what I'm saying? But no, not in Dragon Ball. Look, one episode, Vegeta turns Super Saiyan is a shock, and he beats the shit out the android, kills it, and it's one of the most badass parts of Dragon Ball Z, right?
Yeah.
4 episodes later, he gets his ass whooped by Android 18. Just completely deflating the fact that, like, just 4 episodes ago, he was the baddest motherfucker on the planet. Like, you don't make stories like that. You don't do that. You know what I'm saying? And, like, Tien and Yamcha just wandering around doing nothing. Like, it just... You would give them somebody they could beat, or at least hang with. But they're just helpless for episodes at a time. Like, why would you do that? It's really weird. Like, it's just really weird to me.
I'm not disagreeing. It's crazy insanity. The ups and downs, and the ups and the ups and the ups and the ups and the ups. Like that's what we make fun of Dragon Ball Z for, is that it's like the the show where like nothing happens and then suddenly something happens and everybody just keeps like, it's just scope creep. Like everything, the stakes have to just sort of indefinitely keep getting higher, and it's like we met the god of Earth, and then we have to meet like the god of the gods, and like everything just keeps getting bigger because the story doesn't work. They don't know how to do anything besides just bigger.
Have Goku save everybody. That's all they know how to do. Because
yeah.
Even like the perceived badasses on the show takes way more losses than they do wins, except for Goku. Like Vegeta loses all the time. Piccolo loses all the fucking time. Krillin, I love Krillin. But he loses all the time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you wouldn't create, if you had all these characters and they're supposed to be great fighters, you wouldn't make them that helpless for 200 episodes.
It is funny because we have these perceptions of these characters as being heroes, and yet you're right, like we just barely ever saw them do anything helpful. And we're like, oh yeah, the Z fighters or whatever. It's like, that's not even a thing.
Yeah, it's not. Like only the Super Saiyans are useful. Like, you know, only the Super Saiyans. Nobody else is useful. Nobody, and even then, their usefulness depends on the story. It's like he kept writing himself into a corner,
mm-hmm.
and he had to figure his way out of it. And but I still love Dragon Ball Z. I could complain about it all day, but I can only complain because I'm a fan. And these are things that I noticed. But yeah, if you was making this story, you just wouldn't make it in this way. You just wouldn't. Like, you know, Super Saiyan was the baddest thing in the world, and it was rare. Like, I had to think of my own head canon on why everybody can turn Super Saiyan now, as opposed to not being to 1,000 years before. Since there's only like 5 of them motherfuckers left, evolution kicks in somehow. Like, evolution kicked in to protect the rest of the race, so everybody can be a Super Saiyan. If you have Saiyan blood, since there's only 5 of y'all, everybody can be a Super Saiyan.
So some sort of like Highlander thing?
No, not even Highlander. Just like there can only be one. No,
well, because see, I know for a fact that if Vegeta knew there was a possibility he could be more powerful if every other Saiyan was dead, he would have been like, yeah, Frieza, you blow up that planet right now.
No, I don't even mean like that. I just mean just like, it's like an evolution. Cause you know, you hear about that evolution, right? Like, you know, you evolve to save yourself. You know what I'm saying? You adapt. Well, since there's only 5 Saiyans left, maybe that's how they adapted. They all became just insanely powerful. They could all of a sudden turn on this quirk that's only supposed to be reserved for like one dude, because there's only 5 of them left. So it's just like a quirk of evolution that like that the gene kicked in because it can tell that the bloodline is almost at the end. That make any sense? Again, that's headcanon. That's not in the show.
No, it does make sense. I like that. I have my own version.
I would love to hear it.
So mine is the like almost all mid 20th century science fiction is based on the notion that like humans are the best. And so my thought is that it was like Goku living with humans made him like a better person, and that you have to, I mean, like they talk about this in the show, like I thought you had to be a good person like Goku to become a Super Saiyan, but I feel like it was like something about interacting with humanity and being like more human
okay,
unlocked this extra special ability. Because like that's you know, that's so much of science fiction is like, oh, like the humans are the only one, like this species of aliens have been traveling across the universe and they are conquering planets, but humanity can stop them because we're special. Or like, oh, like humanity can found the Federation of Planets and make space peaceful. Or like, oh, humanity can, you know, do this special thing. So I was picturing it as sort of just an extension of like somehow Earth is always the most important planet in the universe, and that interacting with humans made the Saiyans more powerful.
That makes sense. I mean, shoot, what, 3?
I mean, it makes as much sense as anything else.
I mean, 3 of the 5 Saiyans are half human,
And
the other 2 has extensively interacted with humans.
Yeah.
So I like that theory too. That's because it, like, again, I was there, nobody thought about this but me when I was younger. I was up there trying to think of why. Cause again, I just had like this thing for story and how story should go. I was like, it makes no sense that everybody can be a Super Saiyan. You're just diluting the story. And my friends be like, Jamal, what the fuck are you talking about? Like I'm just saying, it doesn't make it that special. If everybody could go Super Saiyan, I'm just saying, like, it's supposed to be this one special cool thing. And everybody, and their eyes are just rolling the back of their head and they're telling me to shut up again. But yeah, it just, and like, that's the other thing. The show is really long. Like, really long. There's like, what is it, 239 episodes, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So, my son has been watching it, and it's taking him like months to get through it at this point. Because it's exhausting trying to watch all those episodes. So he'll watch 3 or 4, then he'll take like a 4-day break. Because it's exhausting, you know what I'm saying? It's just exhausting.
Yeah. Have you watched any of Dragon Ball Z Abridged?
You know what? I was just about to ask you about that. That was actually my next question to you. Have you seen Team 4 Star? Have you seen Dragon Ball Z Abridged? I'm gonna say something. Might be better than regular Dragon Ball Z.
I agree. They really got at most of the stuff that everyone was talking about after they saw the episodes, and have kind of just cut out all of the waiting and made all of that stuff explicit. So like all like the running this running idea of like Goku being like the worst dad ever. They're just like, yeah, we're just gonna throw in some extra jokes about that.
The idea that Krillin gets off. You know what? That's the one thing it's funny, but it's the one thing I kind of don't like, because I don't remember people necessarily talking that much shit about Krillin when I was younger. Because like, we all realized he was human and he's just doing his best. But now it's like a meme and shit. Like, I just how useful he is. And I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate that shit. Them talking shit about Krillin now. Like, now it's the thing. And I directly contribute that to Team 4 Star and Dragon Ball Z Abridged. But they're on Krillin own account. It's still hilarious. Look.
But I mean, that's what it's so much like talking to the kids at the bus stop, but that also means that like some percentage of it you are gonna find like, yeah, that part's not funny.
No, it's funny.
But I find it hilarious, and my husband didn't really watch Dragon Ball Z, but he watched most of those while I had them on, like while I was doing chores. So now my husband, I can like make jokes, and he knows what Dragon Ball Z is. It also gave him enough of an anime background to be able to watch One Punch Man with me.
Ah, okay.
Have you seen One Punch Man?
I've seen One Punch Man. On the other show I do on the Jack Random podcast, I'm notoriously hard on anime. So like Jack had to almost fly down here and force me to watch it, because I now that I'm older, I have a strict only watching anime every 3 to 4 years rule now. Because I personally think most anime is shit and derivative as hell. Like, you know, every anime is basically just Dragon Ball Z in some form or another.
Yeah, I've also seen a more recent trend towards lots of, well, I guess this is from Dragon Ball Z, but a lot of standing around with mouths open, just going like, like people like, I guess like reaction shots. Attack on Titan is like 99% people standing around crying.
I seen 2 episodes of Attack on Titan. I'm like, I can't watch this. This is crap.
Right.
Like, everybody loves it. I'm just like, no, this is not good. Like, it's not. Like, this is the most anime crap I've ever seen.
Right. But One Punch Man is sort of a parody of all of that.
I've seen it and I liked it. I will admit I did like it. He had to force me. But
yeah,
I did like it. Cause again, it's weird, right? Cause I feel like they don't bring over as many unique animes as they did when we was younger. Like, when we was younger, you had different types. You had Dragon Ball Z, but you also had Gundam, Full Metal Alchemist. Then later you had like Samurai Champloo. All those are unique. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like, I feel like, they just don't, now all anime is imported. And like, there's just a lot of crap anime. There's just a lot of it's crap. Then like, I'm gonna sound like a prude, but I'm very uncomfortable with the sexualization of like teenage girls. Like, I really, really am. Like, I don't.
And it's very hard to avoid that now.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? A girl falls over in her panty show, and somebody told me, like, Jamal, you just stereotype. That's not all anime. You're right, it's not all anime, but it's sure the fuck a lot of it, and you can't tell me that it's not.
Yeah.
It's all melodramatic. Damn it, you know what? You make me miss my point, Amanda, to ask me about. Oh, Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
Yes.
Dragon Ball Z.
And I was just going to make the comparison of One Punch Man is also kind of like a much faster parody almost of Dragon Ball Z, like the constantly increasing power levels and like the monsters who show up who want to give you their backstory first, and just kind of also observes all of those things that Dragon Ball Z really does exemplify, and kind of goes, yeah, so we all agree that this is hilarious, right?
I knew Dragon Ball Z Abridged was good because my nephew, who's like 21, he told me about it. He like, you have to, because there was one particular episode, because like, again, my nephew, he's second generation Dragon Ball Z fans. So a lot of the stuff he gets from me, as far as like what I talk about and how I think about it. And one thing, and I knew the show, and I knew Dragon Ball Z Abridged was in good hands, because there was an episode that he showed me, because I've been saying this for years. It was like, there's like Gohan and Krillin are on Namek.
Yes.
And he said, and Krillin asked him, how long have we been here? And Gohan was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days. And Krillin said, it felt like it's been like 3 months. Like, yes, exactly. Like, I've been saying that. I was like, apparently, they spent 2 whole seasons on Namek. But apparently, everything happens in 7 days. I'm like, that's I was like, if that's true, that means the show itself happens almost in real time.
Yeah.
If you break it down, it damn near happens in real time. Like, it's nuts. Like, and like, they get, because only a fan would notice that. Only fans of that show, even though they parodied it, would like make that joke. And I was saying that years before Dragon Ball Z Abridged. I used to tell my nephew that when he was watching it. I was just like, they basically spent 2 years on that planet, but it's supposed to have been like 7 days. Like, I just don't understand why it took so damn long. Like, why is this shit so long? And also another thing about Dragon Ball Z Abridged, because I can't stop gushing over my love. The dialogue is really good, and like, it can go serious, and when it's serious, it's really good. Like when Cell and Trunks fought, like that's like some of the best dialogue in Dragon Ball Z, canon or non-canon ever. When he was just like, you're just a boy playing hero.
Yeah.
And he and he like behind that smug is just another dead man. And then Cell says, Trunks, you couldn't fathom the dead man behind me. Like, it's so good. I was like, I wish that was in the real show. Like, and they treat certain things with the gravitas that it's supposed to be treated with, because it knows, like when Cell becomes perfect, he starts singing.
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of funny, but it ends in a really ominous way. And he's like, it ends with like, I'm Perfect Cell and I like to say hello, and it just cuts to black with like the piano music. I'm like, that's really good filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like I wish that's what Dragon Ball Z would learn something from these things. See, Nate just got me rambling about Dragon Ball Z.
I mean, that was the whole purpose of this meeting, right?
Yeah. So Vegeta, Vegeta. I love Vegeta.
One thing about Vegeta. You love Vegeta, but my Twitter handle right now
is, because this is why I love Vegeta. We are all Vegeta. We're not all Krillin. We're all Vegeta. Krillin is content with his place in life. Vegeta's the motherfucker. No matter how hard he try, he just can't get ahead. And I find something very human about that. Something I relate very much to. I think most people do. No matter how hard he tries, no matter how much training he does, this fucking moron will always be ahead of him.
Wow. I mean, it feels kind of like maybe Vegeta really is like the symbolic hero of millennials then. I mean, because he was the prince of this planet. He was supposed to inherit everything. Everyone told him he could grow up to be the most powerful Saiyan if he wanted. And then his planet gets exploded by the previous generation, and he doesn't have anything, and he's practically a refugee, and this other guy who doesn't deserve it gets all the praise, and he's the hero, and man, it's just not fair.
And that's the thing. Goku trains hard, but Vegeta does too. Goku is just better than him. Like there's no explaining. And Vegeta, God bless him, does everything he can, and he just can't catch up with this dude.
Vegeta, what about those bootstraps, man? You just gotta...
He does. Then Goku go figure out a new form that Vegeta can't do.
Oh, yeah, it's funny, but it's also really sad because it's true.
Then his son, who's half Saiyan, is better to come to find out is more powerful than Vegeta. Vegeta's just like, what do I have to do? Oh, that's right. He made a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
to be as strong. With the whole Majin thing.
Yeah.
You know what? The thing about the Majin Buu saga is I enjoy everything about it right up until Majin Buu shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I enjoy, cause before that, it was just kind of like them chilling. Like, eating, training.
Yeah.
Doing joking around. Like, oh, I enjoy this. Like, you don't get this in Dragon Ball Z a lot. I kind of like this stuff. And to me, the show had two distinct endings in my opinion. It definitely should have ended after the Cell Saga. Like, no question. Should have ended after the Cell Saga. But if you was going to continue it should have ended with, I don't know if you remember this, with Vegeta killing himself and killing Majin Buu at the same time. Thus completing his arc. But nah. You have to keep going for another 2 seasons, another 2 fucking seasons. Cause I'm very much like when stuff ends, and the fact that it doesn't end bothers me. Even though they have all these natural endpoints where they wrap everything up, there's no loose ends after the Cell Saga. You know what I'm saying? Like Vegeta is a full good guy now. He's come to terms with the love for his son. You know what I'm saying? like Goku's not coming back to the planet because he said, look, I'm always putting the planet in danger. Gohan is the new hero. He's finally lived up to his potential. And you could have ended it. And no, you keep going. And the same thing with Vegeta. You finally got Vegeta in this place where he's been like a dad for 10 years now. You know what I'm saying? He's domesticated, but he's done all this terrible, horrible murder stuff. And he does this super redemptive thing he does this self-sacrifice thing to save everybody. You could have ended the show.
Well, I mean, maybe that's the greatest lesson of all is, that pride and money and contracts can ruin everything.
That is true. By the way, if Vegeta are millennials, that make Goku Donald Trump. I just like to point that out.
Yeah, that's maybe not a great metaphor then.
You say that, but again, you try really hard, and this guy that's just born into greatness, just always ahead of you. No matter what, you just can't get ahead. Mm-hmm. And he's an idiot. He's an idiot with a lot of power. Did that remind you of anybody, Amanda?
It does. I just, this morning when I woke up, I did not think that I would be viewing the current political situation as a Dragon Ball Z fight that was not going to end well. Because Goku doesn't lose.
He doesn't. And like, it's always him saving the day. Nobody else can save the day. Like, even in Super, right? Like nobody else can get the win but Goku. And it's just like, I guess. But, I've come to terms with a lot. Like, I realized that I just like super flawed characters that might be the bad guy. Because I usually think those characters are the most human. Like, it's the same reason why I love Starscream and not Optimus Prime or Megatron. Because Starscream is so full of himself, but he's nowhere near as good as he think he is. I can like identify with that. If you ever seen MASH, I really love Frank Burns because it's the same damn thing. Like that level of petty, that level and childishness. I think most humans are like that. So there's something very human about Frank Burns. Like, he's the villain of MASH, but it's something very human about his villainy.
Yes.
Okay. So, I think I'm done talking about Dragon Ball Z. I think we got out of our system. We never have to mention Dragon Ball Z again on this show. It would never, ever, ever come up. What?
Sorry, that was, do you need to do another take?
No.
Okay.
I'm serious. We would never, ever mention Dragon Ball Z on this show again. I'm looking for lightning.
Folks, turn into the next episode and play the Dragon Ball Z drinking game where you...
on the Jack Random show, we literally had to like introduce a rule that we can't bring up Dragon Ball Z for too long, because every time we did, like Abe specifically would complain. Like, you guys talked about Dragon Ball Z for 45 minutes, 3 episodes in a row. I was just like, I'm sorry. So we had to implement a rule. There's 2 rules on the Jack Random show. We don't talk about BVS, and we don't bring up Dragon Ball Z.
Well, this isn't the Jack Random show. This is the Amanda and Jamil and Amanda comic book show.
Should know what naming conventions? Should the short name go first or last? So should the name with the less syllables go first or last?
I don't know. I feel like it depends on the combination of like sound and letters and stuff.
Oh, let's think about this. Batman.
Because Amanda. I'm sorry, I've had to think about this before. Amanda is a weird name because when you say like Amanda and Amanda, like it kind of mushes up my name. So it usually depends on the other person's name, which order sounds better.
All right. Because I'm thinking, like, should it be Amanda and Jamil or Jamil and Amanda? Okay. I'm trying to think, like, Batman versus Superman. Superman has, one more, like, beat in it than Batman. Yeah. Tom and Jerry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bebop and Rocksteady. Even though I've heard people say Rocksteady and Bebop, and I think that's weird. I like that sounds weird to me to say Rocksteady and Bebop. Like Bebop and Rocksteady sounds more natural.
Yeah. I was just thinking I should just change my name because Amanda and Amanda, they both sound weird. So I should just pick a new name. For the rest of my life so that I never have to think about this problem again.
You should name yourself like Renika or something, just something really ethnic. then when you walk in, and have everybody be shocked? That's your wife?
When I was substitute teaching, the first name the kids guessed for me was Jalissa, so I could go with that.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. That's a little bit ambiguous. Kind of Jalissa, like that's definitely black, but it sounds like it can go the other way too. Instead of naming yourself something like Tanisha or something, like.
Whew, okay, I can't wait to tell my coworkers that we're doing this on Tuesday.
My name is now Tanisha. Don't refer to me as anything else. I identify as a black woman.
No, oh my god.
I'm getting butt implants next week. I expect you not to say nothing or notice.
Okay, no, hang on. This you just reminded me that I'm female. And we did all that Dragon Ball Z talk without talking about the women.
Oh, the women are great. I wish they had more to do. Maybe.
But see, the thing is, the women were great. And if the option was for them to have like to try and like shoehorn in like a girl into the story, like if they had made Trunks a girl just to try and be like, oh yeah, like we should have a girl, I don't know if it would have worked. I was very happy to have like Chi-Chi was strong, she was a badass, and she also
woman on the planet.
And she was also like a cat herder. Like she was able to actually make Goku do stuff sometimes.
It still stick around. No.
yeah, except, yeah. And like Bulma is the same way. Like I was like, okay, I'm totally okay with the fact that not a lot of women would be able to hang out with this group of like assorted aliens, former villains, and like overpowered, like, you know, fighter dudes.
And they all are terrified of them. All the men are terrified of those two women.
Yeah, and it's just, it was nice to, I mean, that's, to be honest, Bulma hanging out with the Z fighters was a lot more like my calculus class than, like that actually prepared me for the future. My life has been a lot more like that than, I don't know, like X-Men or something. Like the one girl who has to kind of be a brat about things to have anything happen, surrounded by a group of dudes who are just stumbling around.
Like, you know, I mean, she is like really girly, like on Namek. Like, oh, he's so cute. And I was just like, I mean, it doesn't bother me. I'm not even gonna pretend like it bothers me. But I can see how, like, in a modern day context, how that could be problematic. But you know what? She just wanted to get laid, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think she should be judged that she wanted to have sex with Zarbon.
Yeah. No, it's, like that aspect of her character, her being, like, super girly, didn't negate the fact that she was the one who was like, oh yeah, I was reading the science journal, and I know exactly who Dr. Gero is, and I even remember, like, probably where his lab is, and I could save the entire day all by myself without you guys, maybe.
Like, hey, motherfuckers, you don't get the Namek without me.
Yeah, exactly. So, I was happy with her.
Look, I just want to say something. I am not pro-sexual harassment, but in Dragon Ball Z Bridge, right? When they on that ship for, what was that, like 2 months, and she walk around in her underwear, and I was Krillin, me and her gonna have to have a serious conversation. I'm not saying like rape or nothing, but we gonna have to have a serious, like, look.
No, I understand.
Like, look, damn it. Look, I'm being respectful as I can, Bulma, but look, you either gonna have to put on some clothes or you gonna have to have sex, one or the other, cause you can't keep doing this. We got 5-year-old boy on the bridge, for Christ's sakes, and you walk around your thumb.
Yeah, so once again, Dragon Ball Z Abridged saying everything that we were thinking, and even some of the things we didn't know we were thinking, but which turn out to be true.
It's mad. Like if you think about it, all that social justice shit is cool, right? But you stick a grown ass man and a grown ass woman on this ship for 3 months, and she's literally just walking around half naked. That's going to arise some problems. Not rape necessarily, but that's going to arise, at least furiously masturbating, if nothing else. But that's going to arise some problems. And it was just like, I think in Brit he called her a cock tease. I'm like, yeah, she kind of is. Like, I want to say no, like, nah, you just don't do that. That's all I'm saying. It's just really weird. But again, that's their anime, right? You gotta have that girl in her underwear. They had a whole adventure on the ship with her in her underwear.
Yep.
Oh, I love that show. I really do. Okay. So you know what? This brings us, I guess, to our next topic, which is, I don't know if you guys know this, but this is a comic book podcast, and because of that, I follow a lot of comic book craze as well as Amanda does. You know, we have a Twitter account, which is what, Amanda?
Comic Book Club 52.
And our email address is what?
comicbookclub52@gmail.com.
That's right. See, if we plug it in the middle of the show, maybe people will hear it. But
Maybe.
but no, and within the last 2 or 3 weeks, this whole comics and diversity thing has like really blown up. And
yeah.
I think we should talk about it a little bit, considering that you're a woman and I'm a black man. You know.
Yep.
Yeah, so they're assholes. We know that, right? We know that.
Yes.
So my question is, we know what they're actually about. We do know what they're really and actually about. But my question is to you, Amanda, and I want you to really think about this. Do they have a point in their original mission statement before they became like weird, like racist and sexist trolls?
Well, so I think the part of their view that I understand is that forced diversity it doesn't always work out the best. And that if you focus on like making sure you've got one of everybody on your team without focusing on how good the output is, you're not going to end up with a quality book, or a quality project or whatever you're working on. So I understand their concerns that like, if we overlook talented white men to hire only black women, maybe all of the books are going to suck.
Or purple-haired white women, whichever comes first.
Yeah. It's amazing how easy it is to find purple-haired white women instead of black women. That's
Look, right, exactly. I know it's kind of odd. Look.
But yeah, I understand their concern that it's like, no, we should just, in some sense, we should be able to just have a meritocracy and get like the best people regardless of who they are. I don't know if I follow this all the way through to the conclusion that like this is 100% happening and that this is destroying comic books right now. And I'm like, I just don't follow them all the way.
Oh, no.
But I do understand concern. And also as a woman who works in an environment where I'm frequently the only woman or there aren't as many women around, like when I got my first job, I was the first woman they'd hired in that department. There were already like a dozen men working there. And I did have concerns. I was like, okay, did you just hire me because I'm a woman and you desperately need a woman? Right? So like, I do understand kind of those concerns, but I don't think that's really what's happening on a broad scale in the entire world. Like maybe that happens, maybe that happens like once, maybe there's one woman working at Marvel who had slight preference because she was a woman. or something like that. But I don't think it's like a broad scale conspiracy that's being like masterminded by Tumblr or something.
Well, okay, my thoughts on this are very complicated, and I need to make sure I measure my words before like I get hate mail or become hero to like the wrong people.
Okay.
I do think there is a push for more diversity. I do think there's a push for more inclusive like writers and artists and different point of views and comments. And I don't think it's been done well. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, it's bad if the stories are not good, but these guys make it seem like it's some insidious plot against like white men to take them down. I don't think that's it. I just think people are trying to do their best. You're gonna have bumps in the road, but that's fine. It'll work itself out. Like eventually it will work itself out. I mean, look at Marvel. Like, Marvel sales were in the tank for a long damn time because they were more focused on diversity and giant events than actually making, good stories. You replace the Avengers. You replace the whole Avengers team. Like, that's Thor. No, it's Thor girl. Like, oh, that's Spider-Man. No, it's Black Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's Nova. Oh, no, that's not the white Nova. That's Hispanic Nova. And again, nothing is necessarily wrong with this, but it does seem like, look, to me, I think DC does it better. I really do with their diversity, which is weird to say, right? But like, if you read like the Batman comics are very queer friendly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like a lot of the side, like Batwoman is gay. When Montoya is gay, they have a couple more characters that are like bisexual or gay. Like they do it really well. Like, they introduce like a black sidekick without making it like a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just there. Duke Thomas is just there. They didn't give Duke Thomas, like, they didn't replace Batman with Duke Thomas. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And I feel like that's what Marvel was doing. It ain't so much you change it's not so much that you change is good. It's that they literally try to change everybody at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Woman Thor, Black Captain America, Black Spider-Man, Asian Hulk. You know what I'm saying? It's like all at once, basically. That's what it feels like, And you just take all the characters off the board. And you're like, I wonder why our comics aren't selling well. Well, because, comic book readers, as you know, like familiarity. We want something new, but you can't replace like your whole roster of your main characters, just because it looks good. Like that's how I see it. That's what the optics look like to me. You know what I'm saying? And look, I'm all for diversity. I'm black, but I do think there is such a thing as pandering. I remember I was reading America, what's her, Miss America? Like,
is that America Chavez?
Yes, America Chavez.
From the Young Avengers?
Yes, her. I was reading her book. I think her book is pretty terrible. And towards the end of one of the issues, there's this Kate Bishop laments on how cool it is to be gay, even though she wasn't. And how great like gay love is, more or less. I'm paraphrasing here, and I find that kind of cringy because I'm thinking to myself, what happened if Everett Ross just stopped in the middle of a Black Panther comic book to talk about how great it is to be black? Like, that would be weird. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, what the fuck is this? Like, why? Like, huh? I'm not against, because again, Batwoman is one of my favorite characters, and she's a lesbian, and not only is she a lesbian, she was what we like to call a butch lesbian in a lot of ways, and I love Batwoman. So it's not about that. It just feels like with Marvel, a
little try hard. Mostly when Marvel started doing all this stuff, my eyes just sort of glazed over, and I haven't been paying attention.
Exactly. Look. Exactly. like again, you don't have a problem with it, but there's something actually wrong. Like you may not know what it is in your brain, but look, Riri Williams, right? This is my problem. It's her name. That's my main problem. But it's the fact that people was mad that they replaced Iron Man with Riri Williams. Like, of course they was. Riri Williams been around for 5 minutes. All of 5 minutes, right? And you take Iron Man off the board and say, here, this is your new Iron Man. Like, it don't work like that. It just doesn't. Like, you know, Dick Grayson can take over for Batman because Dick Grayson has been around for decades, right? Wally West can take over for the Flash because, you know, Wally West's been around for decades. This character been around 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? And she's black and she's a teenager, so it's kind of Mary Sue-ish. You know what I'm saying? You give her the most, like, stereotypical black name that I could think is in Riri Williams. And I've read maybe a couple of comments, but I ain't read a lot. So I'm not for sure if that's her real name. Cause where I come from, which is like the ghettos of Atlanta, Riri is short for something. That's not your real name, right? Riri is short for either Rihanna, Renika, Renisha, you know what I'm saying? Renita. And you know, your nickname would be Hey Riri. And I feel like and it sounds like a character made by like her name sounds like what a white man would think a black person's name would be. And again, maybe she has a real name, but I've only seen her referred to as Riri Williams. So I'm assuming that's her real name. And like, I have problems with that. Cause yes, I understand what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to add something. You're trying to add this more diversity, but it feels more pandering than it does, you know, like actual, like, progress.
Yeah, I'd say maybe the issue is that they were doing all of this stuff at the same time. And from, like, a scientific perspective, that means that they don't know if you change everything and it starts going poorly, it's hard to figure out what was the cause. And like changing one thing at a time is usually better. I don't know. I remember being surprised just at because Bendis did Miles Morales, and I really, really liked those books. But even just the announcement of Riri as the new Iron Man felt like weird. It felt like, I don't know, maybe introducing like Black Spider-Man in the Ultimate Universe first helped. I don't know if having like a testing sandbox type universe for all the variations of the characters you want to try was like a really good strategy for them.
And again, but here's the thing though, right? For all the shit talking,
yeah,
you know, it's better this way. It's not perfect.
Yeah.
But it's better this way. Like, yeah, there's a move towards more diversity. Like, you know, you watch The Last Jedi, all of a sudden there's a lot of female pilots, like a lot of them. That wasn't the case before. And they made a point to show them. And to me, that's fine. You have to do this. Sometimes you kind of have to force feed society into accepting things. So yes, they might be right in the sense that yes, they are pushing this. Yes, they are, like, there is an agenda, but it's not a bad agenda per se. It's just clunky as hell.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, the idea was okay. The execution was horribly flawed.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you pull a move like make Iceman gay, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now you can't renege on it. Then it looks like you're being hateful.
Well, it's funny because I also am aware that like I'm not the target audience for female Black Iron Man. I'm not the target audience for gay Iceman, but I do remember being at a comic book convention in New York City, and there was a line of people to get books signed by Bendis, and like there was somebody there to get, like, I don't know, I just remember there were people there who were, like, so happy to see Iceman gay that they were, like, crying. And, like, they wanted to, like, talk about it, and they, like, so I know, like, there are some people, like, it might mean something, too.
But, like, this the thing, and, like, this is gonna make me sound real mercenary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Enough of those people didn't buy that book, though, and they had to counsel it. So,
Yeah.
like, is it worth it? And here's my thing with that. Just that particular situation.
Mm-hmm.
There's 1,000,001 queer and queer-coded characters in X-Men.
Yeah.
You could have fucking used. You did Iceman as a stunt. You know what I'm saying? Just like Riri Williams becoming the new Iron Man. You did it as a stunt. And I understand that for some people it touched them, but overall it feels cheap. You know what I'm saying? Like it does feel cheap to me. Like, you know, like Mystique is real popular. We all know Mystique, like at least bisexual.
Yeah.
You could have put more emphasis. Hell, no, North Star had the first ever gay marriage in comic books. You could, like, you have enough, like, gay characters that you could have put more emphasis on without, because you know how comic book fans are. You just destroy all that man continuity. Like, Bobby's was a ladies' man. Like, you could, and, like, you know, you basically say, these 50 years worth of comics ain't shit. In the name of, like, you know, trying to appease maybe a fan base. Look, this is the thing, right? And this is what I always say, right? Comic books are a very niche market, right? The number one comic book in the country every month only sells about 130 copies.
Yeah.
So, so within that, and most of those are white and most of those are male, as far as mainstream comics go, right? So, but within that 135,000, you got smaller subsets, right? So, like, there's black readers, but you know,
sure.
you know that pool of black readers are way lower than than like your white male demographic. Not saying you have to appease the white male demographic, but at the same time, you have to be smarter because, again, you don't have enough gay/black readers to sustain these changes that you're making. Like, you gotta be smarter about how you deploy your diversity.
So it's interesting that you're talking about this from the point of view of, like, the pool of people who are already reading comics and not in terms of making the pool bigger.
I'm at the point where I believe the pool will never get bigger.
Okay, because when I was working at my comic book store, the number one thing that surprised me as an upper white middle class woman was how many Archie books we were selling and who was buying them.
Did you know technically Archie is the best selling comic book every month, but since it's not on Diamond, they don't report on it?
It was like the black middle school girls were buying, like, every Archie book we had. So I wasn't working at the store when, you know, we had young black woman Iron Man, but I've got to believe that if they were in there to get Archie and they saw her on the cover, a few of them would have picked it up.
Yeah, but again, it's just a few. It's not enough. Like it's just, and again,
I can imagine that, and you're right, from a business point of view, it's not enough, and it's not worth losing other readers over. But, like, you're right, it is, like, that is the sort of thing that they should try. Like, they should try to get that girl who's in there to buy. They all wanted Archie, and for some reason, all the kids from that school were also reading Aquaman.
Hot damn.
So they were reading Archie, they were reading Aquaman. If we could have gotten them reading Iron Man also, they would have been set for life, right?
Oh, man, and when was this? When were you at the comic book shop?
This would have been, like, 2013, 2014.
So, like, is that like doing, yeah, they was doing the Jeff Johns run. That was a good time to read Aquaman. If you was going to read Aquaman,
yeah,
the Jeff Johns run is definitely a good time to read it.
I just thought that was really funny because I remember being like, who is buying all of these books? And then I was there one weekend and I was like, oh, wow, this is not what I was expecting, and this is a lot about who I am.
No, I think there's things you can do. Like, apparently, was it Devil Dinosaur and Science Girl, whatever her name, the black little girl that's with
Yeah.
Devil Dinosaur, that does really well on the scholastic market. It doesn't do well in single issues and in regular
Right.
comic book stores. So like my thing is, if you really wanted black people and gay people, you need to start putting comics in places that black people and gay people are. You know, cause right now, you know, they have this thing where like you can only buy single issues in comic book stores. And I know comic book stores need the help, but I remember when I was a kid, I could go to the Eckers in my neighborhood and see a spinner rack full of comic books. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know, I could buy one for $2. It was terrible because it was the 90s, but I bought a few. And like that's that's missing, right? Go to the barber shops, go to these go to these heavily populated areas, and pick comic books in them. Put those single issues there. Put it in their face. You know what I'm saying? Put it where they can't miss it. Like in front of the store. Like, hey mom, can you get this for me? But they don't do that. They think just putting people. Cause like I'm like, you see, you love comic books and I do too, but I'm very pessimistic about comic books, right? Like I'm very pessimistic about comic books. I'm not for sure if comic books will be around in 10 years in its current form. Just cause, you know, if your best book only sells 130,000 copies, how long is that really sustainable? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From my point of view, I could be wrong, but like, you know, comic book movies are the biggest thing in the world, and this hasn't translated into sales. Not even a little bit.
It still kills me that they weren't able to take advantage of that more. I don't know how stupid they have to be. We had the store I worked in was across the street from a movie theater, and we constantly had people coming in saying, "Oh, like we just saw the what would it have been then? We just saw the second Thor movie. Are there any Thor books?" And I'd be like, "Sure." And they'd be like, "Well, so does this pick up right after the movie?" And I'm like, "No, this has nothing to do with the movie."
Look, okay, Thor 2, that would have been the Dark Elves, right? That would have been.
Yeah.
So like, what you do is, what should have happened is, not necessarily your store, but just in general, like you enter, like, cause you know, the comic book publishers, companies enter into partnerships with comic book stores all the time because
Yeah.
they need them to sell the product, right?
Yep.
Be like, look, our movie is coming out. Can you put on display? We'll give you a couple more copies for free. Can you put on display like maybe the graphic novels where Thor is fighting Malekith?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Make it super visible. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you're close to a movie theater. How about, you know, we give you a little bit of money so you can advertise before the movie. Like, hey, if you're into the movie, the comic book store is right here in the mall too, or
Yeah.
right across the street. You know what I'm saying? It's just a high skip jumping away. And like, these are things they can do, and they just don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Comixology is available on a lot of things. You know, kids play video games. Put that shit on the Switch. Put the app on the damn PS4. Maybe they'll read it if it's in like 4K on their damn TV. You know, like there's things like you need to get that shit out there as much as possible, and they don't do that. And just putting a black character in your book is not going to bring in new readers. And this has been Economics with Jamil and Amanda.
No, I think you're making really good points. I mean, all I could say, like, you know, half an hour ago was like, they're 99%, you know, Comicsgate is 99% wrong, and you've been able to really explain like what is so frustrating about comic books right now is not that they're trying to be more inclusive, it's that their business practices in general are so shitty that when they do something token, like add a black character, they can't even do it right.
Yeah. And look, I told you, I'm not the most refined person in the world, and I'm not even going to pretend to be. Look, I don't understand, like, the stereotype purple hair, tumblr woman. I don't. Like, you know what? I don't understand the purple hair, Tumblr, gender neutral, gender queer women, men. But I think they should exist, and I think they should be in comics. Like, that's the thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. Even as me, as a person, don't quite understand those people. I don't think there's like this evil thing. I joke, but I don't think it's like this evil thing. You know what I'm saying? Cause of course they're attracted to comics. Cause comics is all about misfits.
Yeah.
And we are all misfits. So yeah, they have a place in this, just like the straight white man does.
I don't know if I've ever told you about going to Small Press Expo, which is like one of the biggest independent comic book conventions, and it's like right near where I live. But it is the first time I went there, I was so completely floored at how everyone there looked unique in the same way. Like, it was all like, everyone's hair was like colored, but it was all like, and I was like, you know, and like everyone was wearing either like polka dot, like 50s style pinup dresses, or like the laser cat, the laser cat, like galaxy leggings, or it was just, I was like, okay, I was like, are you all uncomfortable because you all look the same now? Like you're all trying so hard to be unique and it all comes out the same way. It was very interesting. And it was very interesting to walk around and be like, oh, hey, like, give me your pitch for your comic book. And this was even when I was like reviewing for the Outhouse. So it was like, oh, hey, like, I could give visibility to some of these books. And they would just look at me and they'd be like, yeah, you know, it's like a slice of life, semi-autobiographical thing. And I'd be like, okay, cool, like, more. And they would just like not even be able to sell it to me and like not even be interested in talking to me. Like I was like too normal. It was a very, it's obvious the event is more about the independent comic creators networking than it is about getting like mainstream readers into indie books. But it was so interesting to be like in that bubble and be like, oh, no wonder you guys think you're everywhere.
Well, but again, I think Marvel is catering because, like, if you look at some of the people they hire, if you look at the art, like the art at Marvel, a lot of times take a like a real indie comics bit. Like, you know,
yeah.
Say what you want to about DC, but you know they have a very like house style, and you stick to the house style. Like there's some variations, you know what I'm saying? But there's a house style. Everybody stays on model. And it may look samey, but it all looks good. A lot of the art at Marvel is shit. Like everything can't look like the Hawkeye comic.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a really good comic, by the way. We'll have to do that for the show one day. But like everything, like you know, everything can't be like that. Like, you know, there's this indie bent to the art, because they say, well, art doesn't matter. And that's bullshit. It's a visual medium. I don't know how Marvel can say that. Like, Marvel said that shit. You know what I'm saying? We don't think art matters as much as story, and that's true. But I think your story's kind of shit. So if your art ain't there, I don't know what to tell you. Cause like, but yeah, the art at Marvel has taken the indie bent. Like, nobody draws on model anymore. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that. There's just something.
Oh, no, I definitely noticed that. And during the New 52 era, it was more like refreshing, because it was like, oh, the DC house style sometimes gets like very oppressive. Like, you look at all of their new books for the month all at once, and you're like, wow, I can't. Yeah, you're like, I can't even tell which book is which. And then you looked at the Marvel, and you're like, okay, well, at least like there's variety, and they're trying different stuff, and like that's kind of cool. But the art does matter, and you know, like the layouts matter, and like the lettering matters, and and Jordi Belair can't color all of the books alone. Like, you need to be willing to pay your artists.
like I said, they need a house style again. Like they do. I mean, like, yeah, say what you want to about DC. At least it's professional looking. Not saying Marvel isn't professional, but you know what I'm saying. Like, it's competent art. Like, you know what I'm saying. It all looks the same, but it's competent art. And like, if you're going to have something different, do it with someone like Monstrous. What's her name?
Sana Takata?
Yeah, do something like that where it's very fucking beautiful. Like, you know, be on model, but it's very beautiful. You know what I'm saying? So you can have someone like that, but it feels like they not hiring those type of people. It feels like they just hiring motherfuckers off the street. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's how it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, at least for maybe like, even maybe just like the core team books, to have like a more consistent art style.
I say core team books and major characters. But, you know, if you want to like do something experimental with like Squirrel Girl or Riri Williams, you can.
Those are the perfect times to do that.
Yeah. And again, I don't need everything to be the same. It's just, I do feel like art does matter. And Marvel used to be the place of art. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what, like, you know, they made millions of dollars in the 90s just off art. Cause the shoe went to hell for the stories. But I'm not gonna get into that right now. Yeah, I think we reached a place here.
No, we definitely reached a place, and we managed to stay out of the specifics of the drama that's going around right now. And I
will say that it hurts my heart to see Ethan Van Sciver like throw his hat in with those people, because that's one of my favorite artists, and it hurts my heart to see him like. Yeah. Same thing with Chuck Dixon. You know what I'm saying? It really like, those are two people who work I've enjoyed a lot in my time, and it sucks to see them like throw their hat in with these people.
But I mean, we're seeing that in all of entertainment right now, is that you can have talented people making entertainment that you like, and then you find out that they're not great individuals, and you have to decide what that means for what they make. You know, like Woody Allen's, different circumstances but similar question. Like, do you still watch Woody Allen movies knowing that he's a terrible creep?
Yes. Well, look, yeah. Look, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm one of those people where that shit don't bother me. Look, Kevin Spacey got fired. I'm kind of upset because I really want to see the end of House of Cards. how it's supposed to end. Like, I know what he did was terrible, but could you like ended his career after y'all was done filming? Just shit. Now I gotta watch subpar House of Cards without one of the greatest actors of our generation. I've always been like that, cause like, here's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the Me Too movement, it's all hypocritical in a way. It's good, but hypocritical at the same time. The same people saying Me Too are the same people that clapped for Roman Polanski when he won the Oscar, 14 years ago for The Pianist, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they knew what that motherfucker did. So, like, I can still listen to R. Kelly and not think about all those songs being about him, about little girls. Like, I can listen to Bump and Grind and not picture it was written about Aaliyah when she was like 14 and a half years old, because it definitely was. It definitely was. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because like, if you start not watching stuff because artists are problematic, we won't have no fucking art left. Cause the truth be told is, and we're being honest, problematic people tend to make the best art. I'm just saying, like, a lot of the times, like, not all the times, but if we're being like Quentin Tarantino ain't had a Me Too moment, but that dude's kind of creepy. It's the best movies ever, though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
You're saying that even Goku was a terrible father?
Even Goku was Goku, greatest fighter in the universe, terrible father. I still watch Dragon Ball Z. So I've never been the one to be like, oh, this person's work is invalid now, because I don't think that. Just like I told you, this Roseanne reboot, I would have fired her ass too, but I don't think it's going to be any good though without her. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just can't replace that type of talent. You just can't. Same thing with James Gunn. You know, James Gunn is no longer directing Guardians of the Galaxy. And I'm hearing people saying all type of crazy stuff. Well, you can pick any director to direct it. But no, the reason people like those movies is because they like James Gunn's style. You know what I'm saying? They like, you know, they like his writing. They like his they like his bent on the characters. They like his filmmaking, how he uses music, and all that. You just can't plug a person in and think it's going to be just as good, because again, if it's completely different, as we all know, people don't like change. It may not be as good, or it may not do as well. You just can't think you can replace these people for every infraction. Now, not the serious infractions, not the serious ones, not like Harvey Weinstein, but like you just can't. Like, they're talented for a reason. Like, you just can't replace all of them. That's all.
Yeah, I'm personally, I'm trying to take sort of a compromise approach where like I'm not going to suddenly think that like Woody Allen's older movies are bad, but I'm probably not going to watch any new ones.
I mean, to be honest with you, Woody Allen ain't made a good movie in like years, so
it's not much of a loss there in that specific example. But like I'm trying to think about it a little bit in terms of like if there's opportunities for me to like use my money to show what I like or not like. But I know that it mostly doesn't matter.
Well, you know, I'll give you another example. Michael Jackson. Jackson made, as a black person, I have to say Michael Jackson didn't touch them kids because I'm black. Just like OJ didn't kill those people. Anyway, I'm joking, kidding. Like, Michael Jackson, we all consider the greatest artist of all time. But that man had multiple child molestation, charges against him. Ain't nobody trying to cancel Michael music. Like, not one person in Me Too is trying to cancel Michael's music. And Michael might have touched little kids. And that's beyond the pale. I'm just saying, like, it seems like, you know, I think it's just a human thing, right? It's a human thing, right? Mm-hmm. Donald Trump can get away with shit that Republicans wouldn't dare let, Obama get away with.
Right.
So, like, for me, that's the approach I always take is, humans are just hypocrites, and there's always a bent. Like, there's always a bend to it. You know what I'm saying? That's why there's been this call to take R. Kelly music off radio stations, because if you leave it on radio stations, guess what? People are still going to listen to it.
Yeah.
Because that's just how people are, and they don't make them bad or good. It's just that's how people are. Some things get you offended, some things don't. Some things get your goat. It's like, you know, you have a moral stance. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, put it this way, right? Louis C.K. jerking out in front of a bunch of women, that's bad, right?
Yes.
But that's very bad. But to me, that's not as bad as, say, someone touching a bunch of kids. So I can give Louis C.K. a chance, from my point of view, than if I could if it was a child molester. But somebody else may feel the opposite way. And like, it's okay either way. Like that's the thing. You can't. The lie is that you can be morally outraged by everything with the same amount of fury, and that's just not true. That's tiring. You're gonna run
out of fury.
Yeah, you're gonna run out of fury real bad. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah. So just saying, from my point of view, what Louis C.K. did was bad. He should take his lump, but I think he should continue his career. With Allen, on the other hand, Roman Polanski, maybe not so much, because they touch little kids. You know what I'm saying? Because again, just for me, those things are not the same. For some people, there is. For some people, it's the other way. And like I said, it gets exhausting trying to be mad at everything at once. So, when I hear about one of my heroes failing, I just kind of shrug my shoulders and just go back to work, because that's all you can do. Like, whatever. Who is it going to be next? We're going to find out Mr. Rogers used to run a child sex ring. Like, I wouldn't even.
No.
Like,
don't even joke about it.
don't because like let's face it. At this point, we're all scared, right? We're all scared that people be like, look, they took down Bill Cosby, yo, and Bill Cosby has had one of the most positive effects on black culture than any black person in the country. But he's a fucking monster.
Yeah.
That black people with Cosby are really conflicted, right? Because he's a rapist. But for millions of black people, Cosby was their dad. For millions of black people, Cosby showed them that they could go to college and they can be doctors and they can be lawyers. Cosby used to have, and look, I'm not making a defense of Bill Cosby. I'm just trying to explain where like there's like this split. You know, if you see the split, if you on Twitter long enough, you'll see the split where some people love Bill Cosby and would defend him to the end, and some people like, how dare you? He's a monster. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's this weird thing where like, it's hard to reconcile those things. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember he did something back in the 60s where he talked about positive image of black children and how not having positive images of black children affects, you know, their self-esteem and what they'll be later in life. It's revolutionary. This was in like 68, 69 when black people wasn't even talking like that. They just started to talk like that. But then come to find out 50 years later, he was like raping white women. And like, it's just like, and it's hard, man. You know what I'm saying? But like, so like, I don't know how we got here, but I'm just saying people are complicated. Things are hard. Don't be too mad at the guy that goes to Chick-fil-A just because they don't like gay people. That's all I'm saying. Don't get mad at that guy. He just likes Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think
Amanda, you know what, Amanda? I feel like I'm pinning you in these like compromising like conversations. I'm so sorry.
No, it's to be honest, you're incredibly reasonable and very pragmatic and realistic about these very complicated issues. So it's like, I'm not like frustrated or disagreeing with you or anything.
Oh no, I know you're not disagreeing, but you're just like, look, Jamal, I really don't want to touch this subject.
Well, but see, the thing is, it's very easy to be like, oh, I just don't want to touch this subject, and then it never gets dealt with, and then instead of, you know, one difficult conversation, you end up with Comicsgate all over your Twitter, and
I mean, just
I don't even know, yeah,
all over the place, just everywhere, just like, I'm so tired of reading about Comicsgate. And this, I mean,
it's literally to the point now where they're talking about pictures of some guy's butt. Like this is the thing, is if you don't have the difficult conversation that we needed to have like 4 years ago, you end up with pictures of some dude's butt all over Twitter.
Hold on, what are you talking about? I don't know about this one. Oh.
I guess somebody, I don't even know, because people don't want to use specific names on Twitter because then they can be name searched and brigaded. I guess somebody, a comics pro, got angry at, maybe it might have been Ethan Van Sciver, and like sent him a picture of his butt. And of course, the Comicsgate side uses this as proof that they're like being. I know. But this is why I'm like, if you just sit down and talk about like how difficult and complicated this stuff is years ago, you don't end up with butt pictures. Lana, this is how you get butt pictures.
And look, you don't end up with dude who's like the leader of Comicsgate talking about all the women breasts have like reduced sized, and it's just like, just like, which actually that might be a little bit true, but look, that's not the hill you die on, right? That's not the hill.
Yeah.
That's not the hill you die. Like, of all the problems you have, right? Wonder Woman having B cups should not be like an issue. Of all the problems, right? Like, that's not the hill you die on. With guy who shall remain nameless.
Yeah.
Well, did you hear that he's really despondent that all his heroes like hate him now?
I have.
Don't that bring you just a bit of perverse pleasure?
It is. It's like almost entirely perverse pleasure, and like maybe just there was like 2 seconds of like, oh, I'm sorry for you.
Just a half a second, because like
just a breath, just a you know.
Oh well. But you know what though? What I'm hoping, like, maybe this is a teachable moment. Cause look, you can come back from this, right?
Yeah,
you can come back from this. Cause like he hasn't done nothing terrible. He ain't raped or jerked off in front of nobody. So like he can easily come back from this. He could just be like, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I can learn from this. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can come back. You don't have to die on this hill.
Yeah.
Like look. White supremacist members come out the Klan all the time and say they was wrong, and people accept them back into society, right? He can do the same thing. Maybe this will be a teachable moment. Maybe, you know. Because if all your heroes hate you, maybe that says something about you. And, like, again, this whole idea that, like, comics shouldn't deal in politics, comics has always dealt in politics from the very beginning, and that has never changed. The X-Men are nothing but a metaphor for racism. Luke Cage was in jail for a crime he didn't commit, and that was in the 70s.
Yeah. I just keep coming back to this, like, extended Dragon Ball Z metaphor where I'm like, if even Vegeta can have a redemption arc, if he can go from Goku's greatest villain to one of his allies, even comics and diversity might be redeemable.
Yeah, maybe, but probably not. Well, you know, I think that's another thing that the left needs to do, cause you know, I think we all left, like left leaning, I think. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure we all kind of sort of left leaning. It's like, this has to be forgiveness, and this goes for everything, right? This has to go for everything. Like, there has to be, like, forgiveness at some point. You just can't wipe a whole person career out because they said it was a racial slur. You know what I'm saying? You at some point
you can't let perfect be the enemy of good.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, Louis, I know I keep using Louis C.K., you know, he just recently got back on stage, right? And people are upset, like he should never have a career again. Again, what he did was bad, but like, should he never have a career? Like, maybe he can do more to try to redeem himself, but I don't know what he could possibly do, because it feels like if he even talks about it and say he's sorry and he wants to make amends, it seems like nobody would be accepting of that. So I feel like he just ripped the Band-Aid off and just jumped back on stage and like, well, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like, at some point, you know, do we forgive these people? You know what I'm saying? Do we forgive someone like, I don't know, Matt Lauer, who sexually arrested a couple of women? You know what I'm saying? Like, do we eventually forgive these men? And what steps do they need to take to be forgiven? And like Hulk Hogan, like, I love wrestling. Hulk Hogan said about 5 niggas one time.
Oh, I did not know that.
Oh yeah. He's been blacklisted for the last like 3 or 4 years, but now he's making his way back, like, slowly, and people are mad. But I'm just like, you know, people change. Like, well, he's racist, and we all a little racist. Like, if we're honest, we all are. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, shit. Hell, I get nervous when I see a bunch of black dudes walking towards me, and I'm black. To be fair, I also get nervous if I see like a bunch of like white dudes with like skinheads like walking towards me. I definitely walk across the street for them too. And both of those, you
may also just be an introvert if you get afraid when people walk towards you.
You know what? I'm one of those people don't believe in introvert and extrovert type shit, but that's definitely me. Like if I feel like people looking at me, I try to like walk like I'm normal. Then, like, which just makes me walk even weirder.
Oh, no.
And mind you, you know, I've built up, like, this persona of trying to be, like, cool, but I'm completely awkward. Like, completely. And, like, if I feel like people looking at me, I start touching my face like it's something on my face. What's going on? Like, And someone's like, well, Jamal, you just an introvert. Like, I don't believe in that shit. Leave me alone. Just leave me in my own personal hell. I'm sorry.
We might be done now. I don't know if we can come back from this.
No, I think that's it. I think we've talked long enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure you have a life.
I do. Except the thing I'm about to go do is Team 4-Star just dropped the first part of the last episode like an hour ago.
Oh, part 2?
No, I think it was still part 1. Was that last night?
Yeah, I seen it last night.
Well.
Again, I'm not going to spoil it for you.
Okay.
Really damn good. Really,
I can't wait.
Really damn, so good. I don't want to end like on a downer note or anything.
Yeah.
So, Amanda, you said something about your comic book shop?
Yeah, my current store really likes to do big events for Free Comic Book Day and for Halloween. So they do, like, they have promotional comics, they have, like, everything on sale, they have games going on, they get anyone in the area who wants to cosplay to, like, run around downtown and give out coupons and, like, take pictures with kids. They do, like, an art show, and they're just now, like, looking for local artists to submit, like, horror-themed pictures, and they, like, have them up for, like, the whole month and auction them off, and I don't know, it's just, they're already starting to get excited for it, and I'm like, woohoo, it's fall, it's Halloween, like, the comic book store's, like, getting ready to put everything on sale, they're gonna have a big party, we've got pumpkin spice lattes, hopefully it's not gonna be...
White. You are so fucking white, I just want to let you know that.
I have never claimed otherwise. So I'm very excited, and since you've got me reading more of not just the stuff that we're reading together, but I'm reading more of my comic books that have been sitting around. I'm like, I might actually have like a shopping list this time. I might be organized to go in there and get my trades on sale. So.
Oh, look at you! Look at you!
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Now, let me ask you: Did you buy those Power Ranger comics?
So first of all, I actually already owned, like, the first 4 issues. Because I had pulled them when they were coming out. So I was able to find those, and then I went into the store and read, like, a few more. And then, I just Comixology'd the rest because I was like, these are really good and I want to actually pay for them.
Oh, yes. I'm about to say you could have just read mine on Comixology.
Well, next, if we're ever reading something that sucks and I don't want to pay for it, I'll borrow yours.
That's good. You want to spend your money. You want to give back. That's good. Because if it was me, I'd take all the free comics you can give me. Because God knows everybody else I give my information to does. Just look, they read shit I forgot I bought. Like, did I buy that? I guess I did.
Well, if it gets out of hand, maybe we'll talk about economical solutions for.
You know what? I think this has been a pretty good show. I do.
Yeah.
I think
can't go wrong with Dragon Ball Z.
Oh no, you can't. Again, I think I dominated the conversation too much. Amanda, you gotta jump in and man, tell me this shit the hell up. Back next week to read Hellblazer, Volume 16, written by Mike Carey. So Amanda, I think that's it. I think we've talked about everything. We've exhausted all possibilities. We talked about everything from race, sex, dudes jerking off in front of women, and economics. I think that's a pretty diverse show.
Sure is, and we love diversity these days.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So, I am Jamil Payne.
I am Jalissa Comey.
You can't laugh.
How can I not laugh? I feel like we had to change my last name too for that to really work.
Okay, you're right. You're right.
No.
Look, hold on. Okay.
I can't breathe.
I got it. Hold on. Just give me a second.
No, I think we're just done. I think we just end the episode with us laughing too hard to talk.
Jenkins.
Jalissa Jenkins, okay?
That's it. I can't do it no more. We gone, guys. Bye.
Bye.